When it comes to 90-day fiancé celeb Natalie Mordovtseva and romance, the red flags are always waving in the breeze. At first, when Natalie met Mike Youngquist through mutual friends, she was very charismatic. However, as their love connection deepened, Natalie couldn't help but show her true colors. Natalie and Mike were first introduced on 90-Day Fiancé Season 7 when Mike met up with Natalie in her native Ukraine while they were awaiting the answer on Natalie's K-1 visa. Mike spent time with Natalie and her mom during that trip, although they left their time in that season broken up. Mike and 90-Day Fiancé's Natalie Mordovtseva made for some great TV, as both delivered some extremely embarrassing moments for the franchise. It didn't take long until it became noticeable that Mike and Natalie came from two different worlds and hardly agreed on anything. Not only did the couple have a significant language barrier, but they also didn't see eye to eye on religion, culture, family values, and children. However, despite so many hurdles, the Washington State native fell for Ukrainian-born Natalie very quickly. Mike made numerous trips to visit her, dipping into his savings to finance his travels. Sadly, most visits ended with fights. Natalie and Mike appeared on 90-Day Fiancé Season 8, where they were still broken up, but Natalie's K-1 visa had been approved. Despite their relationship status and bad negative history, Natalie came to America to live with Mike on his remote property in Sequim, Washington. The pair had many disagreements during their 90-day time period to get married, but ended up tying the knot on the very last day of Natalie's visa. Mike's mom, Trish, revealed she had asked Mike's neighbor to object to the wedding on her behalf. The marriage went through, and Natalie and Mike's post-marriage life was featured on 90-Day Fiancé. Happily Ever After. Season 7, where Natalie left Mike and moved to Florida after only 6 months of marriage. Natalie then appeared on 90-Day. The Single Life Seasons 2 to 4, where she dated Josh Weinstein and moved to Los Angeles, California to be with him, despite still being married to Mike. Mike asked Natalie for a divorce at the Single Life Season 4 tell-all. One of the biggest arguments in 90-Day Fiancé history had to do with Mike and Natalie. During one of Mike's last trips to Ukraine, it was clear that Natalie was no longer interested in putting up a front when it came to her feelings. During a brutally honest TLC confessional, Natalie let it slip that it would be a lie for her to say she was in love with Mike. TLC viewers watched Mike jump back on a plane to the United States, and the communication between the two came to a standstill. While Natalie seemed quite determined to end the relationship, Mike was left contemplating his dating status. Natalie never hid her love of God, as she often spoke about attending church with her mother and reading the Bible. The devout Orthodox Christian had always stated that her faith was everything to her. During a sit-down with Natalie's friends back in 2019, Mike revealed that he believed in aliens. While it is never fun to be grilled by a partner's close friends, Mike was honest, which may have been his downfall. At the time, Mike admitted that he did not believe in a particular religion or God, but rather in a superior civilization. While Natalie was in complete shock, Mike went on to say that he thinks that extraterrestrials are like gods, and that he believes previous societies saw aliens but misinterpreted them as gods. In a major contradiction to Natalie's belief, Mike shared that he felt the aliens helped to create life, noting that there was no Adam and Eve. Instead of Natalie trying to understand Mike's views, she wanted to convert him, which was a major red flag to followers. 90-Day Fiancé viewers may recall that Natalie loved everything that had to do with leading a healthy lifestyle. This included no junk food or alcohol. While she made it clear that she wanted Mike to follow in her footsteps and become a vegetarian, she was downright mean to him when he tried to have a steak or beer. TLC cameras would often catch the disapproving look on Natalie's face, whenever Mike returned from work and opened the fridge. At one point during season 8, Natalie challenged Mike to live the veggie life for 1 week in the hopes of turning him off meat consumption. Mike tried his best to please his fiancée, but nothing worked. One morning, he woke up early to make her French toast, but Natalie scoffed at the meal, deeming it unhealthy. She chose to eat a raw carrot instead. Even though Natalie may have been trying to help Mike become healthier, she made him feel bad about himself and his weight, which is never something a lover should do. Natalie never shied away from telling Mike that she expected to have children with him. Mike, on the other hand, had cold feet about the whole idea. He told 90 Day Fiancé cameras that his immense debt stopped him from wanting to procreate. Their entire time together, Natalie had been pressuring her fiancé to commit to having children together, as she knew her biological clock was ticking. The then 35-year-old didn't understand Mike's reasoning for wanting to hold off and often called him selfish. After months of pressure, Mike shared during the tell all that he felt he could support children, which naturally put a smile on Natalie's face. Mike didn't seem completely sold on the idea himself, as he began to sweat after making the surprise announcement. As for Natalie, it seemed as if she was pleased to have finally won the war over potentially breeding. However, once Natalie and Mike broke up, Natalie's desperation to have a child grew. Once her mom was in America, she sought to have kids via a sperm donor, but decided that idea was too impersonal. She asked Mike to visit her in LA, and then bombarded him by begging him to give her a child. Mike refused, and Natalie felt devastated. The clear sign that Natalie had issues with her relationship with Mike came when the 90 Day Fiancé star threw her engagement ring away after the couple fought. After their last major fight in Ukraine, Mike was packing his suitcases to go home and refused to change his flight. After all, he'd already paid good money for it. While Mike packed his bags, Natalie became so infuriated with him that she threw her diamond engagement ring into the suitcase. This was an attempt to hurt her fiancé. With one of the greatest comebacks of all time, Mike just said, "Thank you," and kept packing. Even after the return of the ring, the whole 90-day period that Natalie was in the U.S. for was centered around her asking if they were going to get married. She also wanted her ring back. Sadly, even couples therapy didn't help, as it was Mike's turn to reveal that he no longer loved her. Natalie had made sure to throw up some serious red flags, and even though it took a bit of time, Mike finally took note of them and walked away. When war broke out between Russia and Ukraine in February 2022, Natalie's mom was still living in the capital city of Kyiv. Upon Natalie's insistence and Mike's good nature, Mike petitioned for Natalie's mom to come to America. It's unclear what kind of visa Mike filed for Natalie's mom, but it was approved, and she arrived in Florida before she and Natalie moved to LA. Mike had to have financially supported the visa endeavor. Once Natalie and her mom made it to LA, Josh took over by providing Natalie and her mom with a car and a place to live. Natalie's selfish attitude and quick temper were on full display throughout her relationship with Josh. Not only did Natalie throw a fit over Josh having 2 kids with 2 baby mamas, but she also became unhinged over intimacy. Natalie accused Josh of using her once they got intimate in an angry and tearful breakdown that took Josh aback. Natalie also had a parking lot meltdown after she felt Josh wasn't giving her enough of his time and attention. Moreover, she called Josh weak upon their breakup after everything he had done for her. Natalie's outbursts were very unhealthy and showcased how unstable and delusional she was. Josh also tried to hook Natalie up with an administrative office job with his cousin, which Natalie totally blew. She couldn't describe her work history and used the job interview opportunity to try and dig for information about Josh. Natalie also squandered an acting opportunity Josh gave her when he invited his producer friend to dinner at Natalie's. Natalie proceeded to recite a monologue in Ukrainian that was very bizarre and unfitting for the situation. The 90-Day Fiancé alum's over-the-top antics push her partners away, and her selfish behavior always rears its head. Natalie's disillusioned approach to her romantic connections has created entertaining reality TV moments over the years, but has not done anything to help her secure a relationship and the baby she wants so desperately.